All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town Hall for Rough River Lake Dam Safety Rehab Project. My name is Steve Durrett. I am the project manager with the Louisville District Army Corps of Engineers, and I'll kind of be going through some slides and kind of being the MC here this evening. We will have plenty of time at the end for question and answers, so we're going to go through about a dozen slides, and then we're going to open the floor up, and we'll have a microphone we'll be able to bring around. So at that time, we'll ask you to raise your hand, and we'll be able to get a microphone to you so that everybody in the audience will be able to hear the questions that you have, and we'll try to answer those we can today, and those we can't, we will get back with you on answers to those questions. Oh, wait a minute. All right. So some of the rules for the engagements, like I said, we expect this to be about 30 minutes of a presentation, and then we'll get into the question and answer period. We'll run around and get the mic. We will be recording the meeting. We've got some video cameras, so this meeting is being recorded, and it will be posted on our website as well, so you'll be able to, or you pass it on to your friends, and they'll be able to listen to it or look at this presentation at a later time. Quick little agenda. We're going to go through some little bit of introductions, then we'll go through a little history of the lake, not the entire history of the lake, but a little bit of the history of the lake, and then go over some of the remediation history, the Phase 2 project itself, which is what we're going to be starting right now, which is the purpose for the meeting, is to let you know we are kicking off. We have awarded a construction contract. Safety measures we're using, some community considerations, and then some contact information at the end. With that, I just wanted to, my name is Steve Durrett. I am the dam safety, I'm the project manager for this project. So I'm kind of in charge of the funding and orchestrating all of the other pieces and parts associated with this project as we move through this. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Colonel Mann, commander of the Louisville District, to give a few words.
Lord, don't tell me how to do this. Hey, I appreciate everyone being here tonight, and I see you've got a good representation here, and I understand that everybody wants us to get through it, so we cut it down from 250 slides. 250 slides of calculations. We've got it down to 12. We definitely want to make sure everybody gets out and kind of watch the State of the Union tonight. We do appreciate everyone being here. We have a good representation from the Corps. So you met our project manager, Mr. Steve Durrett. And we have Robbie Wheeler, who is the project engineer. Of course, we have John, who runs the park on a day-to-day basis. We've got other Corps folks, just put your hands up in the air here. So we've got operations folks, our smartest hydraulic and hydraulic engineer, Adam Conley, is here. I would like to also recognize that we have our contractor here. Our contractor, we have Kevin McCumbee here. And then other contractor, I saw you guys come in. If you want to just stand up, I saw you with the hats. There we go. There they are. So you're asking everything. There they are, right there. Present. We've got a bunch of Baptists sitting in the back, just like Baptists. Those are my people. Want to say hi to Ms. Hunter Whitaker from Senator McConnell's office. I think she's somewhere around here. Hi, there she is back there. Do we have anyone from Congressman Guthrie's office?
They're on their way.
On their way. They must also be Baptist because they're late. First to the buffet. So I am Colonel Mann. I am the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Louisville District, the very best of 43 districts across the Corps. Right now, I want you to know that the Corps of Engineers is deployed in over 110 countries and is responding to a whole bunch of stuff in the Northeast with the weather. But your Louisville district has some exciting news today that we were finally able to award the safety modification project. This is such a huge milestone, and we want to thank everybody that played a part in it. The themes that you're going to hear as we step through these slides are: we will never compromise your safety. Period. That's my job, and I know it makes me probably the least popular person in here as we talk pool restrictions, and but it is 100% about your safety. And so we can't finish this goddamn project until we start it. And so I'm excited to start the clock on what should be a 6-ish year project. And it's incredible. What we're going to tell you about is some of the stuff that's made the Corps the most astounding engineer agency the world has ever known for 250 years, doing the most complicated things. And we're about to set loose on a project here that's going to set this dam up for decades of success to come. We are committed to good communication and to partnership. And this hopefully exemplifies that communication. We handed out some leaflets here where you can be like, I don't know what's going on. You can always check in for updates. And we're just excited to get started because we have a lot of smart folks that have put years into this day. And it's such a win for this Rough River community. It's not lost on me that about a year ago, we were standing here watching the highest pool on record. So the urgency of this as we head into another flood season is, it cannot be overstated. But again, I'm going to turn it back over to Steve that'll walk you through the history and what we're going to do. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Building strong.
Thank you, ma'am. I do, as we mentioned, the contractor is here, and I would like to give Kevin about 2 minutes if he wants to say a few words. Sure. Come on up.
Well, thank you for everybody being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to at least speak to the citizens of this community. So Vail has been doing critical infrastructure work since 1947. It's a long time, and I think that for us, we don't just build projects. I think that for us, we really build protection. I think we build reliability and we build legacy. And I think that for us, the Great River Project isn't just concrete equipment for us, which is, I think a lot of times people would consider that to be a contractor's priority. For us right now, it's really about families in this community. It's really important to us. We understand the impact that that has, the businesses that are involved. And I think the generations that will be impacted to come are something that we really want to focus on for us. Our relationship with this community is simple. We want to partner with you. We want to communicate, partner, and deliver a quality project for you. I think at the end of the day, I think when we finish, it won't be a completed job for us. It'll truly be for us, it'll be something that families can rely on for decades. But I appreciate the opportunity to service your community. I welcome the challenge, and I also look forward to the relationship. Thank you to the Corps and the community for this opportunity. And if we can do anything to help support you, please reach out. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. So the Corps is looking forward to our partnership with the Thale-Bauer joint venture group and executing this work. All right, a little brief history on the dam. So it was really authorized in 1938 as part of a Flood Control Act of 1938. That's what got the authorization from Congress to build the Rough River Project. To date, the Rough River Project has prevented over $360 million in damages to the downstream constituents along the river. Construction of the project began in 1955 and was completed in 1961, creating the lake that you have been experiencing over the last 50, 60 years, impounding about 5,100 acre feet of lake. The technical specs, the dam is about 135 feet high at the center, and then it crest length, which is from the right to the left abutment, is about 1,590 feet. So that's kind of the dam itself. This is some of the information we got this is just two cross sections across the valley of the lake, one slightly upstream, one slightly downstream of center. We got this information to really draw this detail, and you can see some of the anomalies that we're showing up here that in both upstream and downstream. And this is only about 17 feet away, and it doesn't look anything like this right here. So these are the formations we're trying to fix. This is the karst, or the caves that are in the limestone. And there's two formations that are very concerned to us in the stability of the dam, and that is this Haney limestone up near the top, and then this Beech Creek limestone, which is down here at the bottom. And this little dot right over there, that is the existing conduit, and it's sitting right on top of that Beech Creek limestone. So these two formations are two of the reasons why we are trying, oops, wrong button, sorry, are two of the reasons we are really trying to repair this dam and make it safe again in our minds and for you all to use for the next 50 to 100 years. The remediation project, what got us to where we are? We started looking at this dam because of issues with instrumentation we had in the dam, monitoring the water levels, how the dam behaved, and so on and so forth. Back in 2012, the first report was drafted. That report showed that we had some issues with the dam, which led us to do the first phase of the project. And many of you know phase 1A was to move the state highway to the upstream face of the dam. That was in preparation for 1B, which was to do the grouting across, drilling holes about every 5 to 10 feet across the entire center line of the dam, upstream 10 feet and downstream. So we had 2 lines of holes every 10 feet along the crest of that dam, and 2 reasons for that. One was to understand what that limestone really looked like. How bad was it? Where were the voids and so on, and so how bad that limestone looked like, both in the Haney as well as the Beech Creek. The second piece of that is, since you already had a hole in the ground, let's fill it full. We cleaned it out the best we could, and we filled it full of concrete, or what we call grout. Again, that is basically a patch. All we did was fill voids. We really didn't wash out any of the clay, which naturally washes out over time by Mother Nature and just water moving through the Earth's foundation. So that gave us the details we needed to understand. The second problem of this project really resolved around this conduit. How do you get under the conduit? The original plan was to cut through this conduit, leave it active, cut through it, and then patch it when we were done. After getting reviewed by the Corps, as well as some outside experts we involved, that was not a good idea. And we had to come up with an alternative plan. And that alternative plan led to the project that we have here today, which is really building a new outlet works around the left abutment, and then we will go through and actually do the cutoff wall. Everything we are going to do on the first part of this project is in preparation for improving the stability and the safety of the dam. So the first 3 years we may be working, but we're really not changing the stability or the safety of the dam much. We're monitoring the heck out of it, but we're not doing anything to improve that condition. And we have continued to look at this project over the years, as you can see from the dates there on the slide. Again, I talked about left abutment and right abutment. I just wanted to kind of, this slide is to really explain, make sure you explain nomenclature that we use in the Corps. We always look downstream. That tells you what's left and what's right. So when we refer to things and you hear the word left abutment, you just turn downstream, and left is left and right is right. And that's probably the important thing. The conduit is what we're going, this conduit, the existing conduit and the control tower, the conduit will be eventually filled full of concrete and abandoned in place. And our new conduit will go across the left side of the dam, the left abutment of the dam. So we have awarded a contract. The contract is what the Corps of Engineers refers to as a base and option contract. So we have awarded the base contract. The base contract is the control tower, the tunnel, the stilling basin, and the new entry channel, the new exit channel into the existing river downstream. That is our base contract. Option 1 will be to add the approach channel to get water from the lake into the control tower. And as part of building the control tower, we will have to build what we call a cofferdam. Will be built initially across here to make sure that area of the control tower stays dry, so the contractor can work in the dry and we're not impacted by fluctuation in lake levels. And then option 2 is shown will be abandoning the existing tower and the conduit and filling in and basically the stilling basin itself. So it's abandoning the existing. And now this is where we get to option 3, is the best part of the project. This is where we start reducing the risk of the project. This is where we start making it safe. Every panel we put in will improve the safety of the dam. So this phase 3 is the new cutoff wall. This is what we're doing all of this other work for, is phase 3, is to build this cutoff wall. This is what we need to have a safe dam again on this particular project. So those are the pieces. We have only awarded option of the base contract. The plan, if everything goes accordingly, we'll be awarding option 1 later this fiscal year between now and September. Option 2 will be awarded in our fiscal year 27, and option 3 is planned to be awarded in fiscal year 28. That is what we have told the contractor we had planned to do for the government, and that's what we intend to do. As funding comes through, we will exercise these options. Our goal in the Louisville district is, as soon as we get money, we're going to exercise these options as soon as possible. I'm not going to wait for 30 September, which is the last day of a fiscal year, to exercise the option. If I get the money from the federal government, we're going to exercise the options. As soon as we get the funding in the door in Louisville, we're going to run it right back out the door and send it on towards the contractor. All right. Again, I talked some about the various options. The base contract, again, is, I keep hitting the wrong button, sorry. It's just a new control tower, the outlet works, the tunnel, and the retreat channel itself. The option 1 will be some underwater blasting, so we're probably going to get a little, well, we'll talk about blasting here in a little bit on a couple more slides to talk about what we're going to do to ensure safety. We communicate when those things are going to be happening. There'll be other blasting besides that intake channel. We'll have to blast in order to get down to the foundation level of that control tower as well. But the blasting is, the option 1 is mainly that intake channel, underwater excavation. That'll be very tricky, and some of it's going to be very deep work that can only probably be done at certain times of the year because of the elevation of the water. Equipment can only reach so deep, and you're forced to wait for certain lake levels in order to do some of that excavation. The cutoff wall work platform, again, we're trying to do things in option 2 that gets us in the right place so that we can start the cutoff wall as soon as funding becomes available. So if we get this work platform, which is what they're going to need in order to put all the equipment they're going to need on top of the dam, it's got to be about, I think it was 90 feet wide on the top of the dam. So he'll have to build this platform in order to get his equipment up on the dam. And then we're going to do the grouting we need to do, and then we'll have the abandon the outlet works. By the time we abandon the outlet works, the new conduit and the new outlet works will be working. All the water will be going around the left side of the dam. Nothing will be going through the existing structure that we have out there today. And again, option 3 is the actual cutoff wall, which improves the safety of the dam. We will restore the dam. We're going to replace the tailwater shelter, the pit toilet, as well as the playground area. That will be all reestablished at the end of the contract, and it's in the contract for all those facilities to be re-put back in along the tailwater of the new facility. We will fill in the old river channel up to where we're building the new channel, and we will put the state road back up on top of the dam. That will all be in that option 3. So at the end of the day, when we finish option 3 in this contract, you should never know anything has been wrong with this dam. You'll still see a new control tower. It's just going to look brand new in about 6 years or so from now. These are the sequence of just a simple bar chart. This is not meant to be detailed. It breaks things down, but it just shows in a very simple way that this first part of this work is going to be about 4 years in length. None of this will really improve the safety of the dam. The grouting will help a little bit right here. It will look for some weak areas and fill in some areas around underneath the existing conduit. But the real work is this piece down here. This is where the stability of the dam comes into play. Some of the features, I talked about a cofferdam that we're going to be building on the upstream left abutment. So this will be basically in the pool, won't be in the water as it sits out there today. But if you ever had a flood like we did in April, the water would be to the top of this particular cofferdam that we'll put around the work area. It's going to be relatively small. It's going to look massive, but in a cofferdam perspective, it's going to be a relatively small cofferdam. But it will keep the work area dry so the contractor can pretty much work year-round unless we have another flood like we did last April, in which case he's going to get washed out and we'll have to fill it up and then we'll have to drain it and pump it dry and all that other stuff that goes with it. And then he'll start seeing some haul. So some of the things you're going to be seeing, tree removal. We're going to be doing that in March. So his plan is to start his tree removal in March. These are the activities you're probably going to see over the summertime period. You'll start seeing construction trailers show up on site. They'll be down to, if you're looking out at the state road, out to the left, I believe is where your trailers are going, right? Yes, I saw the plan, but I forgot what it looked like. So the trailers will come in the May to July timeframe. You'll start seeing haul roads. We plan on minimizing the amount of crossings. People are still going to come to work using State Route 79, but the amount of construction equipment going directly across the road is going to be very minimal. We are planning on using the emergency spillway as the access to go upstream to downstream. That is the intent. We do not plan on putting a construction crossing where we're going to run trucks across the state highway all day long. So the intent is for us to be moving most of our heavy equipment, earth and rock, will go through the emergency spillway on an upstream to downstream basis, and we'll try to stay off of the state highway. The first blasting will probably be occurring sometime this summer. The contractor's still working the details of his schedule. As we know more details at the date, we will be passing that information along to you. And we do plan on having a formal groundbreaking ceremony. Will be sometime this summer. I think we're looking, what was that date we were looking? Thank you. Again, I drew another blank. July 20th is what we're actually looking at as the date for that. And that's tentative at this point, but we're looking at a groundbreaking ceremony on that week of July 20th. Safety, as the commander mentioned, this is very important to us. Many of you have seen those little white pipes that stick up on the downstream side of the dam. Those things are what we call piezometers and other instrumentation to monitor the foundation of the dam itself. They monitor the dam, they monitor the foundation and various formations in that foundation. We have over 90 piezometers or monitoring points in that dam that are all automated. We can see that data in the office, in the district office, every 15 seconds if we want. We can see it every 5 seconds if we want, but that's like so we watch this stuff, and like we had a flood, we had somebody looking at this data twice a day. This is something that we watch all the time. If it's not flooding, we still look at it every day, but if it's flooding, we look at it several times a day. So this is automated. So this information is actually being looked at, and it's not just by the Corps. Operations team is out there looking at the dam. We also have one of our partners is the U.S. Geologic Surveys, is very good with this kind of technology of automation. They are the ones that maintain all of this stuff for us. We pay them, they come out and they maintain it. An instrument goes bad, they fix it. So we have them as part of our team as well. Contractor will also, as he's getting stand up and working, will be monitoring this stuff as well. So not only are you going to have one set of eyeballs in the Louisville district, you actually have 3 sets of eyes that are going to be looking at this data, and they can look at it anytime they want by just getting on and logging into their computer. This is part of our safety protocol, is that we monitor this thing constantly. If instruments go bad, they get fixed within a week. We're replacing them and fixing them. So they don't stay out of service very long. All right, the tailwater, many of you probably already realized, or maybe you don't, we have closed the tailwater area. That is part of the contractor's construction work limits. He's going to be moving equipment in and around and clearing trees, so the tailwater area is basically going to be closed for the life of the construction project. But that should not impact much, but he needs that area, and we don't want to have people driving a car or kids in construction equipment. That just doesn't go good together. So we have closed the tailwater area. That got closed around the first part of February. The interim pool restrictions that we've had in place, I think they went in place in 2023, are going to stay in place probably through the life of the contract. At some point near the end, they will probably be evaluated and they will be removed, but I don't know what date. It could be 6 years, it could be 7 years. It just has to get to a point where we got enough of the dam in, of the cutoff wall in, that it will be sufficient to get permission to put the dam back to normal pool elevations. But this will stay in place for the life of the contract. Because we are doing a construction contract and you never know what the lake's going to be doing and you don't know where you are in construction, there is the clauses in this contract that we could make some minor adjustments to the lake at other times. And those will all be communicated. Right now, there are no plans to do that. But if we're starting, we may want to, because of what's gone on, we may want to drop the lake a week early, go down the winter pool a week earlier than we normally would because of something. Those are going to be coordinated and communicated with everybody before we actually make those decisions. So, but it is, I wanted you to be aware, it is in the contract. It is a possibility, but I don't believe it's going to have to be an extreme condition that allows us or needs us to do that. There's got to be a benefit to getting the project done in order to make those kind of decisions. It's just not going to be on a whim, we're going to drop it on the 4th of July weekend. That's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen. So the interest reduction measures that we still have in place, most of these were communicated with you all back in 2023, are still going to stay in place. They will be here through the life of the contract. All right, the blasting. There will probably be blasting in a couple of different areas of the project. The intake channel, which will have probably above, the control tower will have blasting. The intake channel will have underwater blasting. And the tailwater area where the new stilling basin is going to have some blasting. All of those will be coordinated. They have to be well coordinated. They'll be communicated. We have on the drawings a blast radius for each of those zones, and any structure within those radiuses will be communicated with weeks prior to that blast actually happening. So if your house or you happen to live in one of those zones, don't be surprised if you get a phone call or an email or somebody knocks on your door. I want you to be aware that you're going to get notified that these blasts will occur. We don't want anybody to be shocked that all of a sudden your floor shakes and you didn't know it was going to go on. So all this will be coordinated as they get done. Again, safety is our priority. We want to control the blast so that all that rock stays where it's supposed to stay and doesn't go flying anywhere. All right, traffic. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of construction crew workers on the project from time to time, and you'll see more traffic on 79, just people going to work. So just be aware of that. There also may be some rolling roadblocks required for some of the blasting activities, just because that state highway is going to be within 1,500 feet of the control tower. It's going to be within a couple hundred feet of the control tower. So you will have to have rolling roadblocks that we literally will stop traffic for a period of time. I don't know if anybody's from Louisville. I live near the VA hospital that's being built, and they had blasting every day, 2 o'clock. Be prepared, there could be a rolling roadblock. I live nearby, and I've never gotten stuck by one, but I heard somebody that did, and he said it wasn't that bad. It took an extra 20 minutes because they're very fluent about they're going to shoot it at 2, and they do shoot it at 2 o'clock because I've heard the booms from my house. But be aware that we may have some rolling roadblocks. Will also be associated with State Route 79. This last bullet is not us, but I wanted to mention it since we're here. I don't know if you're aware, the Kentucky Department of Transportation is going to be doing some work on the bridge over the emergency spillway, right? That's there now. They're going to make it larger. My guess is the drawings we have seen, because we asked to see them since they're going over the spillway. We wanted to make sure they weren't going to do anything to impact our spillway. So we got to see their drawings. They're going to go to a one-lane road and probably have traffic signs on both ends that has stop, go, and so that's something else. I just we know about it. I wanted you to know about it. But this is not us, so don't call us about this one, okay? All right, here's some information. If you want some project updates, here's a website you can go to, Public Affairs Office phone numbers, construction-related questions you can send to this email address, and you will get answers will be posted online for you all to look at. And I'll put this back up in a minute, but let's see, I think we're into questions and answers. So Robbie, can you take the other mic and go in the back? Or somebody back there with it already? Oh, never mind, John's got it. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back up so you can still see the links if you want to write them down. And questions?
So just wanted a little bit of clarification. You said options, but you have stages and different things, right?
No, I really mean options. That's just the contract language we use. It's all in the contract, but he's not allowed to do that until we make it part of the actual contract.
But that, our friends from Fowler's already up here, they get those when it happens, right? We don't go through another bid process.
No, no bid process. It's already awarded. We just have to get the funding. We got to put the money to the work. They've got the work, but they can't start that work until we put money on that work. I got it.
Just curious, we're in the process of opening a small business here at the lake, a new restaurant, and as well as all the local business owners, how many out of town, out of state contractor folks you expect in?
Hey, Kevin, do you mind answering that one? Or did you hear it? How many out-of-state folks do you expect to have coming in?
So, as you know, this is a joint venture contract, so we do work in conjunction with Bauer and Vail. So I would anticipate well over 100 plus at least or more.
And that'll vary.
And it's gonna vary based on our construction needs. But that number could push as much as 150 potentially. We consider Bauer in the 80s, so it could be as many as 150.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for your information. It's been very informative. And it's just a question I had at the last of the frequently asked questions at the very bottom. It says minimum to no impacts expected on protected wildlife. That protected wildlife is like bald eagle. What about other wildlife that's not protected?
Yeah, we mitigated the bat. The other endangered species we encountered was the Indiana bat. We have worked with the state and we have done our mitigation requirements. We've already met our mitigation requirements for the Indiana bat.
The ones that are not protected.
I understand. We're doing the clearing, and then there's not much else we're going to do. We work with Fish and Wildlife relative to fish. We've gotten all the permits we need. We're supposed to get. I'm not sure what else we could do.
Okay. When you're going to do this blasting and stuff, and you let people know, what's the chance of damage to buildings in the vicinity?
There should be no damages to buildings in the vicinity. The way we're scheduled to blast is we'll still monitor and we do inspections, but the goal is you may feel a shake, but you're not, you may feel a shudder, but you're not going to feel, there's not supposed to be any damage to any buildings.
Where it's concrete, basement and stuff, shouldn't affect it.
Should not. The goal is you should not be, you might do the monitoring and you understand the distances, and then you schedule your blasts so that you don't cause a problem.
And 2 miles here.
Well, it's only 1,500 feet is with a clear zone.
Thank you.
Are these slides available out there on the site that we're seeing today?
They will be. They will be.
How do we find them? Are they going to just be on the board website? On the funding, on option 1, how much funding do we have right now? So how far can we go?
When we have not received the 26 budget. When we finally get our 26 budget money, we should have enough money to award option 1. And the president's budget gives us sufficient funding to do that. We just haven't received it yet to award option 1.
Okay, so we're going to get everything together. President's going to be out there. The construction's going to get started. Then how long will they just sit around for a year or two while we're waiting on the funding? Should it come in
No.
right after each other?
We expect no delay in any construction whatsoever. This has been sequenced and coordinated with work activities, because this is really like, not everything can be done at the same time. You've got to do certain things before you are allowed to do the next thing. Everything is kind of sequential. Some of this is sequential in nature, and hence the sequential in nature items are the option items that we have. He's got plenty of work for. He really doesn't need the option 1 till probably 27 or 28, and we're going to give it to him in 26.
I just know if it could possibly delay in between the options, the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, we know 26. That's the only budget number we know.
I want to add something on that may not, just real quick. So we had 2 options. I know we're using options a lot. We had 2 choices here. We had a choice to wait and get this fully funded down the road, wait on the full amount, or under Honorable Tell, he is our Assistant Secretary of Civil Works, we had the opportunity to go ahead and award the base bid and sequence this out, which starts the clock right now. Honorable Tell, in his initiative, Building Infrastructure, Not Paperwork, said start reducing the risk now. And what Mr. Durrett has laid out here is that, yes, we don't get the full benefits until that cutoff wall goes in, but you can't put the cutoff wall in until you do the base construction. And then you got to do phase 1 for the outlet works, and then you got to do phase 2 for the grouting, and then you would get to phase 3 for the cutoff wall. And we could have waited on having that full amount whenever that would come, but instead we were able, under our leadership, to start now. Start buying down that timeline now. I just want to make sure.
That's what this does for us. If you waited to the full amount, you still have to do all of this outlet works before you do it. And this outlet works is 4 years. We got enough money for the outlet works. Let's build it, and that's what we're doing. And then we're hoping the money will flow through in 27 and 28 to do the cutoff wall stuff that gives us our buy down. If not, if for some unforeseen reason, and I'm not expecting one, it gets delayed, yeah, you're ready to start the cutoff wall whenever. But all the pre-work is done. It's out of the way. You're ready to start immediately whenever the funding comes through is to do cutoff wall.
Just wanted to know, do you have a way to communicate with everyone? Like you have we just found out about this 2 hours ago, just accidentally. But I didn't know how you communicate to your homeowners about these meetings and about the progress. Is there an email list that we can get on, or?
Abby, you or Katie want to take that one?
The community needs to, if we want to look into the option of setting up an update and kind of send out like a newsletter type, email correspondence, we can look into that, right? I
And they can scan the QR code and the website will be updated throughout the project, and you have the inbox to send questions.
So for everybody, I could barely hear you, but I think scan that QR code. That will give you the information you will need. And you can just take a picture of it with your phone. That will get you the links as we have these. Our intent is to have a public meeting every year. That is what we have committed in the past. We've been waiting for this award so that we can tell you we're starting construction. And then from this point forward, we plan on having a public meeting like this every year. That is our intent, is to have this every year. One second.
Can you give us further clarification on the closure of Highway 79? Will it ever be closed completely, or will it just be reduced to one lane?
For our work, it'd probably only be rolling roadblocks. I can't talk to you about what the state's going to do relative to the bridge. Our understanding from the state and concern about the construction of our project was the road's not going to be closed. It will go down to one lane for periods of time, and I don't know how long those periods of time are, but traffic can still pass. All right, 1 second. I got one right here.
Do you expect the water elevation calendar to be fairly consistent with what we just had?
I'm at the meeting over to lunch.
Can you repeat that question?
Do you anticipate that your water elevation calendar, as it goes up and down, to be consistent with what you just had this past year?
Adam, did you hear that? I'm going to give this one to you. It's talking about water. I only deal in rock and dirt.
Question. Yes. Are you talking about the flood that's going through, or our normal operating? Yeah, so Mr. Durrett said we don't have any plans at the moment to change the normal schedule, right? So we're still water up in the spring, still water ground down in the fall. There may be some periods where we have to draw in earlier, but for now, we're planning to continue the operating water levels they have in the past couple of years.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask, are there any monetary incentives to the contractor to complete early, just like they did in Louisville on the bridges?
Yeah, if it gets done early, we pay him the same whether it gets done early or gets done late. So, did I say that right?
In the event, I know you said it's going to be rare and it's not likely to happen, but if it does, where you have to take it down lower than 490, is there a minimum notification time that we all would get if you were going to have to take it below 490?
Yeah, so we would definitely coordinate that in advance, right? When we're looking at changing the water levels at any given time, we usually have a 4 to 5 month lead on trying to assess that and evaluate. So I think throughout this project, communication is going to continue to flow through Facebook, other methods, and we would absolutely communicate that very early. We wouldn't, like you said, start dropping it after July 4th. It would be months in advance before we started making any changes that are there going.
Once construction starts, if we have flooding like we had this past year, is there any opportunity to draw it down, let the water out for construction purposes, or is that needed? What would that, how would if we have flooding, how would that affect it?
So the amount of water we can let out at any given time is a function of the time of year, where we're at in the pool, what's going on downstream. So, believe it or not, last spring, we were dumping water as much as we could up until we had a flood event, and then it was all out, right? So we're, in addition to monitoring the piezometers and instrumentation of the dam, we're looking at rainfall events, what's coming the next 7 days. We try to be cognizant of all that. There's no guarantee we can get rid of water in advance, because then we send water downstream, we get a rain event, it floods downstream, we don't want to do that. So, it's, I guess, one of the answers I always say, it depends, that's the answer a lot of times, it kind of depends on the situation. So, we'll do our best to manage the water levels as successfully as we can, and, coordinate with the contractor to make sure they do what they need to do.
Sure. Could it delay construction though, if we have flooding like that?
Yeah, I think it could. So like Mr. Direct said, if the cost dam gets overcome during the state bid, it's going to take days, weeks, something to pump that out. That would obviously push the schedule. So that's a possibility.
We got one more back here, sorry.
My question is basically the priority of the dam. This spring and summer, for a dam at risk, it was a lot higher, a lot longer than I would have thought it would be if the dam was at risk. And I know you're trying to protect property and stuff like that downstream. So that balance there, what's the priority through this project?
Yeah, so, this spring was one of the wettest springs we've had in, I don't know, 100 years or something like that, right? We had a incredibly wet February, which speeds us up to be high as we were going into April. We were dumping water as much as we could from February on, so that we get to a point where there's only so much we can do, and when we got to the spillway in April, we were all out. We couldn't let out any more water to go to water. So understand, the priority is always to get laid down to its operating level as quick as possible, but we have to do that with respect to what's going on downstream. The primary purpose of the project is to reduce downstream flood risk, right? So we make sure we account for that. So you're right, it's a balance to get the water out as fast as possible, and we do that within the constraints we can.
So first of all, thank you all for this flooding event. Y'all done great on it. My daughter lost a house downstream, so you only drop it so fast. But as far as that goes, 534, it took 64 years to get there. We're not going to see that again. You said that would be a bad level for the contract company. We delay. But below 534, where does those delays start? With this new temporary cutoff, what's the height, the flood height, where they start having more trouble?
It's probably going to vary, but anything that probably gets over to the spillway's 525? 524? Anything that hits 524 is probably going to be a problem. Okay. If the water going in that spillway, it's probably, he's not working, because we're probably going to tell him he can't work because we're concerned about the dam. So
3 spillway events probably in the lake's history?
Well, we've had 2.
2, okay.
Yeah, and they've both been since, what was it, 2011? 11 and 25, or yeah, 11 and 25. Yeah, so safety of the dam is going to be a paramount for us. And as the water comes up, it increases the risk on the dam. We're going to be monitoring, constantly looking at it. The contract actually has triggers in it that says he can't do certain work when the water gets to certain elevations. And it's a different elevation for a different type of work. So we've got language in our contract that can actually tell him if we get to a certain elevation, he's not working. He's not doing cutoff wall, putting panels in the middle of the wall. So we have things that keep the dam as safe as we could possibly keep it while we're doing the construction. And it may mean it drags out the time, because if I tell him he can't work, that just means I got to give him that time at the end. So it pushes the contract out, but that's okay. It's safety first. Dam's not going to fail. That's our goal. And I think the contractor has the same goal we do. Dam not going to fail.
So if we get high water, are we going to get priority over Nolan and Van and all these guys that are dumping water? Are we going to get the first opportunity to dump, or are we going to have to be the last one to dump? We're the last.
So the 4 projects in the basin, they operate as a system to reduce flooding on the Green River, right, and on the Ohio River to some extent. Rough's in a rough spot, no pun intended, because they're the most downstream project. That's why they tend to be held because they're closest to the mouth of the Green River, so sometimes we have to keep them held back on. Now, that being said, we absolutely will try to get water out as quick as possible, again, with the constraints that we have. But we have to be cognizant of what's going on downstream, because again, that's the first and foremost consideration, and that'll be balanced with everything else that's going on.
Can I just say just one thing about Adam Conley? He's standing up here unassuming, but everything that happened last year, he told me 26 to 32 hours out. By this point tomorrow, it's going to be this. And by this point tomorrow, it's going to be that. He's one of the smartest dudes across the Corps. There's 35,000 in the Corps, and the chief of engineers wants to know what Adam Conley thinks. So if it's reassuring to you at all, not only do you have guys like John out there watching the instrumentation, downpours on the side of the goddamn thing, John's out there. You got Adam doing the math, and he's respected across the Corps. You got one of the best and smartest people making these decisions to minimize damage and keep you safe. And I don't know for whatever that's worth, but it meant something to me to have a guy like Adam. So, and
I've got another question. I thought I read that the main issue was the dam was built on the original sediment of the river that was kind of washing out. I assume that's what you are referring to as the clay. When you build that barrier, do you anticipate that to be kind of waterproof? Or do you think the water will continue to seep, probably at a smaller rate, washing out that clay initially?
So, yes, so good question. That's the other issue. We left, normally today's standards, when you build a dam, you would scrape all of that overburden off across the entire valley of the dam. This one we left it in. So no one knew the condition of that Beach Creek limestone down deep because it never got exposed. The only place it got exposed was under the conduit, and there are records that says they hit karstic features under that existing conduit. So no one knows why we didn't scrape the rest of it off. It just didn't get scraped off. Now that's the material that's getting washed out into the Beach Creek and coming out somewhere. So your question was about stability. Yes, it'll be a concrete wall that goes in. This cutoff wall will be a concrete wall that will fully penetrate, goes down 190 feet deep. It's going to go through that alluvium, it's going to go through that Beach Creek, and it's going to go into the Louisville limestone, which is a very solid, firm limestone, very few cracks and crevices in it. It's a massive limestone. So we will cut it off. It's going to be a concrete. It's impermeable. We have impermeability tests in the contract to actually check it at joints. So as two panels touch each other, we do a test to make sure we got that. I think the specification is that we need a 24-inch 24-inch thick panel at the joint. So if his panels get a little skewed, I don't care how skewed they get, as long as he's got 24 inches thick, he could have them off at 45 degrees angle, but if he wanted to, as long as you've got a 24-inch overlap, that's going to be one wide panel. But so we have requirements in the spec. It's got to be 24 inches thick at the minimum. That's the minimum thickness of the panel. And he can make the panel as thick as he wants to guarantee 24 inches. And that's really the point. It's not any given panel. It's that joint where between two different panels.
So last year we stayed high on flood levels. As long as we stay high on flood levels, do you all notice a substantial difference with your monitoring process in Louisville with the dam, with all the things in place?
Great question. So yeah, so you see all the instrumentations out of the dam. We monitor that daily. During the flood event, we monitored it 3 or 4 times a day. And we saw things that were happening during the flood event that necessitated this project, which is why we're here. A lot of people think the dam was fine. We got this huge flood event, everything out there looked normal. I like to compare it to someone that goes to the doctor. Outside they might be perfectly fine, but internally, there's issues going on that you don't see. So that's what the instrumentation is doing. It's giving us indications of what's happening not only within the embankment, but also down in the rock foundation and soil foundations. And they're giving us signs that
Did you see very many changes last year though in that process?
we're seeing behavior that we have seen in the past, which not alarming, but gives us credence to continue this project.
Water in the tower.
Yeah,
Water in the tower.
Right, okay.
And they were trying to get the gates open, so that
Okay.
being a new
Yeah, okay.
Speaking about the labor on the project, is it going to be offered to local people, any of the subcontractors, anything in the local area?
So this is a PLA and it's a union job, so the subcontractors will have to work for the union in regards to that. Did everyone hear that? But listen, I think that we're really interested in local talent and anything that we can do to help facilitate that relationship with the union, we're willing to do that. I think the same thing holds true while I have the mic to talk a little bit about some of the housing. That's certainly an issue for us as well. So we're certainly open to housing opportunities for some of our employees as well.
All right, anybody else?
So when this project starts, we're not gonna have no big gaps in between waiting on work to get done as long as weather's good and no major flooding and stuff. We're not gonna drive by for weeks and nobody doing nothing. We're gonna be out there hitting the ground every day, all week, and getting stuff done.
You may not see them if they're working in the tunnel, so, but yeah. Yeah, we have funded the job all the way through 4 years, so.
With the new control tower, will the spillway remain as it is now?
The emergency spillway, yes, it's going to remain as it is now.
We had a question in here. Just to characterize the changes of the dam since 23.
Yeah, we've got, I guess, the west spot down on the left, the base of the left abutment. We saw a very minute amount of material moving there, and that's something that's kind of, so we had a little bit of seepage down the, kind of around that playground area and the table area, the base of the left abutment. And we had a little bit of material, we see material moving, water seeping. That's a kind of a red flag for us to keep that area monitored during our events. That's some area that's seen in the past, but this was something that's changed, I guess, since 2023 or previous
Has
months.
the risk level changed?
There's been no risk level change. That's why we're able to continue with this project. It hasn't gone up or down. We went out, obviously, well, we still don't have to go out, but it hasn't gone down.
All right, anything else?
Is there any chance that the rest of the funding won't come through, or is it pretty much everything for option 2 and 3?
Sorry, what was the question? As usual, I was wandering around. Is there a chance that the funding?
Is there a chance to fund? Nope, sorry.
So, like with everything, the president's budget is the president's budget, period. And he alone sets the budget. And what we do is we highlight the requirements across the board, and then those are prioritized and funded. But I will tell you that, it's a great sign that we received the funding to get this started, And so I'm not here to tell the president what to do. with your taxpayer dollars. You know, our job is to highlight the requirements and then let the president prioritize them. But we say, I think, you know, there is a, what we've seen is that it's been included to, you know, for the next options, and that the next big plus up would be in 2028 for the cutoff wall, and it will be prioritized by the president. But they are tracking this requirement to finish it, and it will compete, and we'll do what the president funds and tells us to do. But that answers the question. Oh, we got another one back there. Oh, thumbs up. Okay, and then there was one over here.
Okay. 1 second.
There he is. Oh.
No, let's take care. I think you can continuation.
Did you have another question?
So, are you good? Did we answer your question? Yeah. All right. Who?
We had one right here.
Okay.
I just want to know, does this project still include a new buffer dam at the falls? To bring the river level up from the falls to the dam?
Is that the mill dam?
Falls of Road.
No, I would say no, because we don't know about it.
No, that we was told in the last meeting when that the project started, that they just want to put in a new buffer dam down there also. That was in the
That's what I was going to say. We talked about putting in, and it's in the contract to possibly use, it's called a check dam. That would be used at the toe of our dam, the toe of Rough River Dam, in order to keep the tailwater high, which would reduce the overall water difference between upstream and downstream. Because right now we're relying on the mill pond, or the mill dam down at the Falls of Rough. Basically, that's our tailwater level.
That's what they said, they was going to build a buffer dam so they could bring it level up.
Right, so if we put the check dam in, then that
At
would,
the falls.
not at the falls, it would be right at the toe of our dam.
Right down.
Right in the tailwater.
Right in the tailwater.
Yeah.
But that is not in the contract right now. That was something we're still looking at, and it's a possibility as another risk reduction measure that we could do if we felt like if we needed to do that. But as of now, it's not in the existing contract as it stands today. That's something we got in our back of our head, that if we see something that we don't like with our instruments, it could be something we would add to put a little check dam in to keep that water high in the tailwater area. We would not go that far downstream to where the check dam is, or the mill dam is, what we call the mill dam. All right. Any other questions?
What is the threat level of the lake right now? Is it the same it was?
It's the threat level. What we call the risk level is still a DSAC 2 dam for the Corps of Engineers. Yes, it's still a 2. All right, if no other questions, I guess we'll wrap it up. I appreciate everybody's time today. Again, take the QR code, and about this time next year,